Yes, people, how are we all? Another day, another review because there's another game. As is the championship. Bit wild, isn't it? It's just 3 games in a week. Good. From nothing for 2 weeks to 2 games in a week. 3 games in a week. We love to see it. But there's a lot of discussion about this game. There's a lot of thoughts about this game. And I'm not going to go straight off the bat here. We'll talk about Archie Gray real quick. Just listen to Farke's press conference. And from what he said, it seems like Archie Gray will be playing, right? He might be doing the bluff thing. It seems like he'll be playing this game. If he isn't, he isn't. Fair enough. But we'll go on what he said. So I want to talk about this. I've not discussed it yet. About the Archie Gray situation. I've not given my thoughts on it. I'll play both sides because I still don't fully get it. I still don't fully understand either way. So we'll go on one side is side of the fans. Most fans, not all, obviously. A lot of what I'm seeing online, social media, Twitter, about the fact that he needs a rest. He looked jaded. He was leggy. He needs a rest. He's played 5 games in 2 weeks. The problem is, and I get that, look, any player, you look at any player now, and you see they've played so much in a week, you're instantly thinking, right, surely they need a rest. And of course, in most standard and in most situations, a player that plays that much will naturally get rested, right? The way football at the top level works is a lot of their recovery is based on wearable technology, which the players have. This wearable technology can literally detect likelihood of injuries within any minute. Throughout the game, do their running intensity drop off? Does their just everything to do with running and movement, does it drop off? Does it go down? Does the recovery speed decrease? Does it take longer to recover? Is there signs in their muscles, and they have all this technology, by the way, in their signs in their muscles that they are likely to pull, likely to stretch them too much, likely to tear? And if there is, that's when it's suggested that they rest. Now, there's a lot of discussion about, look, what happened to Sam Byron when we used to play him every game and he, got injured. Again, back then, was there that technology that can go into so much detail? I don't think so. The recovery stuff, all of it, the training regimes, was training back then as proof as it is now, because in this training, in this day and age, you can find, well, especially at the top level, Leeds, very invested club, there's a lot of money there. The technology you have available is ridiculous. When you're taking it too far, you can see every stat on every player that can suggest that they might get injured. And what I would suggest is just naturally feeling of Archie Gray. He might feel a little tired, he might feel a little heavy, right, later on in the games, potentially. But that isn't a sign of injury. That isn't a sign of burnout. That's just a little sign of slight fatigue. Recovery, like I said, is the most important thing to that. And Daniel Farke spoke about today in his recovery. He's recovered well. He's had enough days to recover fully. Footballers don't need 2 weeks to recover fully. Their bodies are programmed to do this. They train intensely hard every day. So the recovery speed naturally, and the diets they have and the recovery techniques they do, is a lot less than usual. But based on all of that, and his outline numbers, I looked at the stats, and I'll read them out again real quick. I looked at the stats from the game. People talking about his performance. Looked at the stats from the game against Norwich and the game against Bristol. So here's the basic stats I got. So in terms of overall successful actions in the game, Archie Gray had a higher percentage of successful actions throughout the Norwich game as opposed to the Bristol City game. He also had higher pass accuracy in the Norwich game at 89%, which was 10% higher than in the game against Bristol. He also had higher duels won in the Norwich game. The only thing he didn't have, he had more interceptions, he lost the ball less, and he also had more recoveries. So statistically, from a defensive perspective, Archie Gray had a better game. He also got beat less in that one as well, in terms of duels. So the narrative is now, from Daniel Farke's perspective, he's looking at the metrics. They will be looking at the recovery stats, his body stats. What's his body telling him? What's everything saying about his body? What the outcome of that will be, he's fine. because the recovery time is enough to recover the body, to have that rest. They only need 2-3 days to fully recover to footballers. The problem with Sam Byram was back then you didn't have this technology, so you didn't understand fully what was happening in the body. And naturally, Sam Byram was probably more injury prone. Archie Gray's probably got really good genes. He probably never got that kind of injury problem within him. Some players do, some don't. Jude Bellingham, at this age, played 46 games for Birmingham in a season. Jude Bellingham. Max Aarons, at this age, played 43 games. Ben Godfrey, at this age, played 36 games. Eze, at this age, played 46 games. Elise, at this age, played 46 games in the Championship. There's reasons for both. But for me, I don't think the performance of Archie Gray was worse. I think the way Norwich set up helped them create more moments around the area. And I looked at the average player map, and there was a lot higher on the left. So they clearly knew 1v1 on the right. They thought they could exploit whoever was there. They didn't know who was going to be there before the game. They thought it might have been Ayling, Shackleton, or Gray. They had a better chance of exploiting that side as opposed to Sam Byram, who 1v1 is technically very good. That was the thinking. So naturally, they had more overloads over that side, which made it look potentially like Archie Gray was in not as good. But that was the setup of the team they were playing against. Sam Byram had a lot quieter game because there weren't much he needed to do over that side, and he actually got beat once or twice. It's so easy to look at from and say, he's doing that because he's tired, when actually there's a lot of other things the opponents you're playing are setting up to go down that side based on the fact that they believe they have a better chance down that side than the other side. And if nothing, in terms of, from Daniel Farke's perspective, speak to Archie Gray, how do you feel? He'll then speak to the physios. What are his signs? What is the technology telling us? What are the stats from the game? If none of them say he's fatigued or is in trouble or is likely to be fatigued in the red zone, there's no reason to drop him. From our perspective, watching the game, and personally, I didn't think he looked leggy. I think he looked fine. I think it was a different role. Bristol City were very direct, 1v1 on that side with Archie Gray. His job was fairly simple. 1v1 that winger. Positionally, it was stay tight to him. Don't let him run at you. Get into him. Whereas Norwich, he had a lot more to think about. There was more players around that side. I think it was more difficult for him to figure out, where he was meant to be positionally at every moment in the game. I don't think he looked leggy. In fact, I'd argue Sam Byram looked more sluggish because his attacking input was a lot less than usual. So there's that argument as well. So I don't know. Not for me personally, but if you think he did, that's fine. But what I'm saying is clearly from Daniel Farke's comments, from the club perspective, the experts that have the technology who can see this stuff, from what he said, they're suggesting that he's fine. Daniel Farke might be lying in his press conference, and there might be signs that he needs a rest. If there isn't, from stuff that costs thousands and thousands of pounds, which is used at any elite level in sport, if that's telling him his body's fine, there's no sign of injury, and Daniel Farke was happy with his performance, there's no reason to drop him. And then, so that's my thought on that. Yeah, that's all I really want to talk about going into the game. Going into the game against Stoke, we've just got to be us. We've got to be good. We've got to do what we do. We've got to start better. We have to start better. Starting's a bit odd for me. It's too passive. It's too... I don't know. It's like we're trying to feel ourselves into the game, but teams just come with aggression and kind of knacks us a little bit, doesn't it? So we have to start off aggressive, or at least match their energy in terms of intensity. Right? We can't be more passive. That's just not good. Win our battles, win our fights. We'll be fine. That's what we've got to do. This is the Championship. We've got to match the opponents and allow our quality to show. If we don't match the opponents, these teams in these leagues, that's what they're relying on. You not match their energy, they'll beat you. We have to express ourselves, but be intense. Be intense in every moment. Be intense for the ball. Be intense positionally. Defending, be intense. It was too easy. Their goals were too easy at the weekend. Way too easy. Corner, look, at the end of the day, look, if he's bigger, it's Shane Duffy's massive, innit? But the second goal, Johnny Rowe was a great player, by the way, but in that instance, letting him just 3 or 4 around, and people blaming Kamara. I don't care who it is. There's no blame. It's the team. It's the mentality. Gotta get into him. Whoever it is, it doesn't matter. Get into the man. If Kamara's not stepping up to that, someone else do it. Take responsibility. No responsibility in that goal. But yeah, we'll be fine. We just got to do our thing. We've got to play the way we play. We've got to do what we do. We'll be all right. You know, whether Archie Gray plays or not, whoever plays or trusted manager chooses the right guy based on not only performance, statistics, but of course, how they play fatigue, are they showing signs of it? If they're not showing signs of fatigue, it will play. He won't risk a player if they're showing signs of fatigue. He'll play another player. He's not silly. He's not stupid. He's been through this with young players in the same situations. You know, Max Aarons, at the same age, did the same thing and played almost every game that season, 90 minutes. So, yeah, it's fine. It's fine at the moment. You could go through hundreds of players who have played between 17 and 19, who have played probably about 35 to 45 games a season in the Championship in probably the last, not hundreds, but a lot in the last 5 or 6 years. Some now are playing at the top level. Some are in the Premier League. Technology, guys, it shows you a lot. And if this is going on, if Daniel Farke is telling the truth, he might not be. Archie Gray might be knackered. He might need a rest. We'll see. But if he isn't, it's down to that. It's not down to guesswork. It's down to technology. The reason I know about this is because, you know, we have a small amount of it at university. It's not nothing to do with what they do, but you can see intensity stats, running intensity. You know? Yeah, stuff like that. There's loads of it. It's hundreds. But anyway, that's boring. Let me know what you guys think. I'm looking forward to this. Can't wait to be back. Love watching Leeds. Especially this Leeds. It's just sort of fun, innit? Yeah. Let me know what you guys think. Just a little interesting one there. Appreciate the support. Peace.